naturally assume it's a trap. But they go in and they start fighting, and all of a sudden the Mandalorians are shooting at them and taking them out, but also trying to drawing them deeper into the sewer and everything, until ultimately all the clones are dead that are down in the sewer, and the only person left is Ahsoka. And while she's checking on Vaughn in this big round opening, every pipe around her it just fills with Mandalorians, except for one. And then out of that one, you hear those footsteps, and those almost mechanical footsteps, like a droid, come walking up, and there's Maul, and he's looking at her, and he's not thrilled to see Ahsoka. Matter of fact, his exact words were, "I was hoping for Kenobi. Why are you here?" And Sam Witwer, man, Lord,
yeah,
incredible performance as Maul. And and what makes it even more chilling is this, with Ahsoka standing there, lightsabers out, ready to fight, surrounded by these Mandalorians, and Maul standing there saying, "Why are you here?" And that's where the episode ends. Oh my gosh, you talk about, I've had cliffhangers before, but nothing like this, man. This is just nerve-wracking. To leave it in that type of predicament, surrounded by the enemy, facing Maul, it's just not a good situation. You get me all hyped up, and then you scroll credits with no music.
Right. Well, yeah, no, it's great. I started thinking, if you're Maul, you've already tormented Kenobi with killing Satine in front of him, and now he's wanting one more shot at Obi-Wan, and wanting to literally throw the death knell on Obi-Wan. He wants that final revenge on him.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. He sure does. He wants that revenge quickly too.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where it proceeds from here. And I thought it was a very interesting choice when it came with not necessarily ending the episode like this, but there's no fanfare at the end. There's no music. The credits just simply scroll in dead silence.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make it any more, I mean, you're already on the edge of your seat. Your nerves are shot. You scroll credits with no music, you're making it even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm debating myself on why they did this. Was it either A, because they wanted to make you even feel the suspense even more, or two, this really was supposed to be a full-length animated movie and they didn't decide to spend any extra money to compose some extra music?
Well, I think it's I guess as you're describing this, my question is, so when they do it this way, so are you? I don't know. I'm going out on a limb here. I guess, are you going to be watching on Friday the next episode, or no? You're hooked. They're changing everything up here and really making this stand out. These last 4 episodes, as they should. This series deserves to go out at the top, and so that's why I'm thinking they're really, for special episodes, they do change them up. Again, they've done this in Rebels a few times, not much, but yeah, I think again, started off in a different way, ended in a different way. They're letting us know these episodes are extra special, and this one was.
Oh, it definitely was. And to answer your question about whether or not I'll be watching Friday, is the Pope Catholic?
Yeah, give you two guesses, and the first one doesn't count.
Exactly. Give you both guesses, and neither one of them are no. Um, of course, I'll be watching. I want to wake up extra early just to watch it 3 times before I have to sign into work
Oh,
from
no.
home. So I probably won't wake up that early. But yes, I will be watching it. No hands. You'll probably get a text just a few minutes into it going, "Holy
Well,
smokes!"
that's why I got up Friday morning. I watched it, and then I got to work, and then you you started texting me, and a lot of times you've seen it before me. I'm like, doggone, I'm gonna get it before. And so as you're texting me, I'm so enjoying it because I'm like, oh man, I'm waiting to see what Aaron says next. So, yeah, it was hard to get work done on Friday morning. I think the next three Friday mornings are not going to be easy.
Oh no, absolutely. It was great. I mean, I loved it. Your first yeah, your first message to me last Friday morning was, I may have watched the first episode of the Siege of Mandalore.
I know I had to send that to you. So.
And oh my gosh, it was just incredible. And there was so much goodness in this episode, and it was just awesome. So yeah, so great. Um, this truly was, you know, you mentioned it earlier when you were talking about what Dan Brooks said. This was not just peak Clone Wars. This was peak Star Wars. This is Star Wars. This is what this was just this had the emotional punch, this had the fun, this had the fight, this had the laughter. Oh, this was perfect. This was perfect. This was perfect. Did I say this was perfect?
I think we might know what your grade is for this episode.
You never know.
Okay.
You never know. You might be surprised.
Okay.
I may come out of left field and surprise you on this one, David.
You better not.
You never know. I just might. So, great episode. We're going to do our final thoughts. Before we do, we're going to take one last break because we're going extra long today. One last break. We'll be right back, and as we wrap up our discussion of Old Friends Not Forgotten. And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. David and Aaron here from Star Wars Reactions, talking Old Friends Not Forgotten. And we are going to do our final thoughts. And, since I'm already rambling, I will go ahead and start that. And I think I started it a little bit before we went to break with, this was perfect. This was the opening to an arc that I've been waiting for. I was not disappointed. I was actually overly pleased. I don't know if it's possible to be too happy with what you've gotten, and I am probably too happy with what I got. There was so much goodness. I loved all the Rebels connections in there with Caleb Doom and of course Gar Saxon. And of course we have Rex and Ahsoka there as well. We have Vanessa Marshall voicing Root Cast, and Donald Faison from Resistance as the tactical droid. What's up with that? Crazy stuff going on. The opening and the closing were mind-blowing. I never in a million years would have pegged that opening with the old school logos and the scroll Clone Wars logo, or closing credits with no music. Never would have pegged that. I was just so happy by the end of this episode. I was so in shock. I was so enjoyed. I was so enthralled with what I had just watched. I was content. This to me was the way kick off this arc. This is the type of episode I was expecting for this final season of Clone Wars. This is what I wanted to see through the whole season. But my lord, we're getting it for the last 4 episodes. I'm going to take it and run with it anyway. This was great. David, final thoughts on Old Friends Not Forgotten?
Oh my God. Well, I'm gonna, just piggyback on what you were saying. I just blown away. You know, I had the feels, from start to finish, all different ones. Some of my notes I wrote here just to keep my thoughts straight was, excitement from the very beginning battle there to happy tears, which was, seeing Ahsoka and Rex reunited. To true sadness I was feeling when Ahsoka says, good luck to Anakin as she sees him for the last time as Anakin. To excitement again, that action-packed descent to Mandalore. To the feel I had this anticipation, what happens next for Ahsoka and Maul, and then I go back to I'm sad because it's going to be over with a blink of an eye. We're done with 2 of the 3 episode arcs. I thought we were just starting with Bad Batch 2 seconds ago, and now we have 3 episodes left. But like I wrote there, it ain't over yet, and we're gonna just look ahead and have a great time with these last 3 episodes. I wrote down I'm looking ahead to we're going to see Gar Saxon. He lives and to fight Sabine and Ursa Wren for control of Mandalore. Like you said, we see that in Star Wars Rebels. We see him older, and he's actually, instead of being a Mandalorian, he's an Imperial super commando in those episodes. So he's kind of gone from allegiance to Maul to allegiance to the Empire there that we see. I wrote a little question here. Will we see what E.K. Johnston wrote in her Ahsoka novel? I've been bringing up some of this stuff. That is, in one of the interludes, we see Ahsoka leaving her lightsabers, the ones that Anakin just handed her. In the novel, we see her, putting them down. Again, this is a 2016 novel. This is 4 years ago. Putting the lightsabers down at Rex's quote-unquote grave to try to sell that she has been killed and Rex is dead. And you and I haven't brought it up yet, but in the Clone Wars download, right? We see Filoni talking about how he says, look, as I thought about the end of this series, there's not a pressure, he said, on me to tell Anakin and Obi-Wan's story. We see that in episode 3. So he says, my focus is on Ahsoka and Rex. And so that's why I put that question in there. And I think we'll get some glimpses. I'm curious of maybe Anakin and Obi-Wan back in Coruscant. Maybe not much, because you and I know, every Star Wars fan knows where episode 3 begins. So I think we're going to see this really focus in on them more. And I'm curious too now, going back to something Filoni has said before, and he explained this when it came to Star Wars Rebels, and we see Kanan Jarrus looking at Rex, looking at Wolf, looking at Gregor, the side of their heads where they took out their chips. So what did Dave Filoni say? He said, listen, Rex would have believed Fives, and that was that classic arc at the beginning of season 6. Right, that was released on Netflix, called The Lost Missions. Incredible arc where Fives uncovers the whole thing behind Order 66. And so I'm curious, just in my mind here, Aaron, if we're going to see Rex remove that chip, or the intimation that he's having that removed, because Palps is going to make the order here pretty soon, but we know that Rex takes that chip out. So again, we'll be curious to see what we see here in these last 3 episodes. But I do think, per what Filoni said in Clone Wars Download at StarWars.com, we're going to see more of Rex and Ahsoka than Obi-Wan and Anakin. That's just kind of my feel, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see all this play out, and I